Kampani ya maulendo a ndege ya Malawi Airlines ikudziwitsa makasitomala awo onse kuti kuyambira pa 1 May 2026 kugula matikiti kudzichitika pogwiritsa ntchito njira za digital. Monga gawo la kusintha kumeneku, kulipira kudzalandiridwa kudzera potumiza ndalama ku bank transfer, makina a POS mabanki osiyanasiyana omwe alipo ku maofesi athu. Njirazi zomwe zakhazikitsidwa pofuna kuthandiza makasitomala mwachangu komanso pofuna kukhwimitsa chitetezo zizigwirizana ndi njira zina zomwe zilipo kale zogulira matikiti pa intaneti kuphatikizapo tsamba lathu la website komanso pa foni, mogwirizana ndi mmene makampani a ndege pa dziko lonse akusinthira kupita ku njira za digital. Tikulimbikitsa makasitomala onse kuti akonzekere kusintha kumeneku kugwiritsa ntchito njira zolipira za pa intaneti zomwe zilipo. Ogwira ntchito athu ku maofesi ogulitsa ndi ku airport adzakhalapo kuti athandize ndi kutsogolera makasitomala pa nthawi ya kusinthaku. Mukafuna kumva zambiri, tumizani email pa customerrelations@malawianairlines.com kapena imbani foni pa 0992 991 097.
Malawi Airlines, from the warm heart of Africa.
Welcome to our news bulletin with me, Robert Galindiza. But first, the headlines.
Pope Leo XIV reflects on Spain's visit, praises faith and unity of the people. Government concerned by rising vandalism of public infrastructure, threatening community service delivery. Family objects proposed review of Raf Kasambara's death in plane crash inquiry. And international news, former Central African Republic President Bozize faces crimes against humanity trial.
Now the news in detail, and straight to our first story. Pope Leo XIV has reflected on his recent apostolic journey to Spain, expressing gratitude for the warm welcome he received and praising the joyful witness of faith shown by the Spanish people. During his Wednesday general audience in the Vatican, the Holy Father looked back on his visit to Madrid, Barcelona, the Abbey of Montserrat, and the Canary Islands, describing it as an opportunity to strengthen the faithful and promote communion, dialogue, and unity. Charity Jilanga is reading the Vatican News Report.
Pope Leo XIV said he was deeply comforted by the faith and affection shown by the people of Spain, noting that believers of all ages welcomed him with enthusiasm and openness. Reflecting on the visit, he highlighted Spain's rich Catholic heritage and said the warmth of the people revealed a desire for genuine unity founded on Christ and the gospel, rather than on ideology or personal interests. The Holy Father recorded the liturgical celebrations in Madrid and Barcelona, as well as the Rosary prayed at the Abbey of Montserrat. He also spoke of the Mass celebrated at the Sagrada Familia, describing it as a powerful symbol of the Christian mystery and a sign of Europe's living spiritual heritage. Pope Leo emphasized the importance of safeguarding this heritage and drawing upon it to address contemporary challenges, including peace, care for creation, sustainable development and respect for human dignity. The Pope also reflected on his encounters with children, victims of abuse, prisoners, young people and migrants in the Canary Islands. He noted that migration remains a complex reality that calls for solidarity, dialogue and cooperation among people. Pope Leo XIV recorded the motto of the journey, "Lift up your gaze," and encouraged the faithful to look to the Lord with hope, fostering fraternity and building what he described as a civilization of love.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Benny Piri, has expressed concern over increasing cases of vandalism targeting public infrastructure, warning that the trend is undermining government efforts to improve service delivery in communities. Speaking in Lilongwe during the launch of Presidential Order No. 2 of 2026 on sanitation by the Lilongwe City Council, Piri said public facilities are established to serve communities and should be protected by citizens for the benefit of both present and future generations. Patrick Pupa with the details.
Piri stressed that safeguarding public infrastructure and maintaining clean surroundings are responsibilities that require collective action from individuals, households, businesses, institutions, and local authorities. He further urged Malawians to take sanitation issues seriously, saying a clean environment plays a crucial role in preventing diseases and improving public health.
This is very critical, as you're aware that an economy will only grow when we have got human resource. And that human resource must be a human resource that is in good health. The Constitution talks about rights, and one of which is health. Not only that, but the Healthy Act gives responsibility on sanitation to citizens.
Lilongwe City Mayor Peter Alex Banda warned that authorities will impose penalties on individuals that fail to comply with sanitation regulations.
Make sure that my team will work harder. We are really prepared with many materials, so we make sure that the materials are used to clean the city.
The launch was held under the theme, City Sanitation, the Responsibility for All. For Luntha News, this is Patrick Pupa.
The Reserve Bank of Malawi says continued cooperation between the Ministry of Labour and private sector institutions has the potential to ensure the effective implementation of the Pensions Act, which was enacted in 2023. Deputy Governor for Economics and Regulation at the Reserve Bank of Malawi, Henry Matanga, made the remarks during a Central Region collaborative meeting between the bank's Pensions Department and the Ministry of Labour aimed at discussing challenges workers face upon retirement. Tandiwe Nzumara has more details.
Reaffirming its commitment to protecting workers' pension under the Pension Act of 2023, Matanga said the central bank is tightening supervision of pension fund administrators to ensure that workers retire with dignity, not into poverty. He has since warned employers that failure to remit pension contributions on a monthly basis constitutes a violation of the law.
As was stated in the meeting, it is important that employers comply with the Pensions Act 2023. Employers are supposed to remit contributions from themselves and from the pensioners, from the employees rather. They're supposed to submit these on monthly basis to an administrator. If they don't do this, then it means that they are in violation of the law. So our work as registrar, according to the Act, our work is to ensure that the employers comply, and therefore we are on a campaign to talk to these employers, to sensitize the employees, so that the employees are aware of their rights, but the employers are also aware of their obligations.
Speaking at the meeting, Director of Pension Compliance and Support in the Ministry of Labour, George Masinga, said the engagement would help address challenges affecting workers, including poor working conditions and unfair salary deductions. Masinga added that ensuring workers receive their rightful benefits and operate in conducive work environments contributes to the growth of the country's economy.
The Ministry of Labour, Skills and Innovation has district labour officers in all the districts in the country. And as such, this is one of the reasons why we have this engagement meeting with the Reserve Bank of Malawi to ensure that the workers' rights are protected in how the pension is disbursed after their retirement. Actually, if you have noted in our engagement session, the Reserve Bank and the Ministry of Labour, Skills and Innovation have but one goal: to protect the workers, whether they have to retire after having worked with dignity for 20 to 30 years, that they retire either into poverty or into dignity with their pension fund.
Under the new 2023 Pension Act provisions, employers are required to remit monthly contributions. For Luntha News, this is Tandiwe Mzumara.
The Tobacco Association of Malawi, TAMA, says tobacco rejection rate at the auction floors across the country have significantly reduced during the ongoing 2026 tobacco marketing season. TAMA President Abel Kalima Banda made the remarks while commenting on the Tobacco Commission's Week 8 Market Performance Report, which shows that the overall rejection rate for auction and contract tobacco stands at 5.5%. Emmanuel Chuocha has filed a report read in our studios by Faris Kizombe.
Challenging for farmers due to high production costs, including expensive farm inputs and other operational expenses. He said rejection rates for auction tobacco were extremely high at the beginning of the marketing season, with nearly 90% of bills being rejected. However, he noted that the situation has improved, with rejection rates now dropping to around 60%.
At the tobacco market, there are two systems of tobacco marketing. There is a system of contract marketing and the auction marketing. So both systems have got its own ways of marketing tobacco. Because when we say reject tobacco, we mean that on auction.
Supporting Banda's observations, Tobacco Commission spokesperson Telafilas Chikonembe confirmed that rejection rates for auction tobacco have indeed reduced.
2026 tobacco marketing season is going on well, despite the challenges we've been facing, especially in relation to auction tobacco rejections, which of course have subsided recently, although not yet down to the levels that will impress us. Nevertheless, it's a good thing to see that overall, most of the tobacco taken to the floors is being sold.
According to the Tobacco Commission's Market Performance Report, a total of 62 million kilograms of tobacco, valued at $128.8 million, had been sold by the end of week 8 of the marketing season.
You are watching news on Luntha Television. We'll be back after this short break.
Along the scenic M14 road from Salima town towards Chipoka, approximately 30 kilometers away, lies one of the most beautiful and peaceful destinations along the shores of Lake Malawi. Chitsula Lodge Named after Bishop Chitsulo, the first bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Dedza, this magnificent lakeside lodge offers comfort, relaxation, hospitality, and tranquility away from the busy noise of everyday life. From the very moment guests arrive, the cool lake breeze, peaceful environment, and warm smiles from the staff immediately create a feeling of being truly at home.
Chitsulo Lodge and Conference Center offers guests a unique combination of peace, comfort, hospitality, and natural beauty. Apart from our accommodation and conference services, the calm environment along Lake Malawi gives people an opportunity to truly relax and refresh themselves. We welcome families, tourist organizations, and all visitors to come and experience the beautiful place for themselves.
The lodge offers magnificent self-contained rooms equipped with comfortable beddings, elegant shower compartments, flashing toilets, air conditioners, and modern facilities designed to give guests maximum comfort. Guests also enjoy delicious meals, professionally prepared and served in a spacious and beautifully arranged restaurant. Ideal for conferences, retreats, seminars, family holidays, and spiritual reflections, Chitsulo Lodge creates unforgettable lakeside moments that refresh both body and soul.
I stand to encourage priests, religious sisters and brothers, families and individual Christians, as well as different apostorates in the church, not forgetting Christians from other Christian denominations to come and patronize us at Chitsulo Lodge and Conference Center.
Chitsulo Lodge for relaxation, for comfort, for spiritual renewal, for unforgettable moments along Lake Malawi. Your destination is Chitsulo Lodge. Chitsulo Lodge, a heaven along the lake.
If you have just joined us, know that you are watching news on Luntha television. Now a reminder of the top stories.
Pope Leo XIV reflects on Spain's visit, praises faith and unity of the people. Government concerned by rising vandalism of public infrastructure, threatening community service delivery. Family objects proposed review of Raf Kasambala's death in plane crash inquiry. And international news, former Central African Republic President Bozize faces crimes against humanity trial.
Welcome back, and continuing with the stories, the family of former Attorney General Raf Kasambara has objected to a proposal to examine his death as part of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee's inquiry into the Chikangawa plane crash that killed former Vice President Dr. Klaus Chilema and 8 others. Appearing before the Parliamentary Committee investigating the crash on Wednesday at Parliament Building in Lilongwe, Kasambara's brother, Charles Kasambara, argued that the committee's mandate is to investigate the circumstances surrounding the plane crash and not the death of the former Attorney General. His remarks follow a suggestion by Minister of Justice Charles Muhango that the committee consider whether there may be any links between Kasambara's death and the fatal crash. Gift Karonga has filed a report read by Tandiwe Nzumara.
Speaking during his appearance, Muhango told the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee that, in his view, there is a need to investigate events that occurred prior to the Ntungwa plane crash. He said the inquiry should begin with the sudden death of former Minister of Justice and Attorney General Raf Kasambara. He also asked the committee to determine who communicated the information, how is it obtained, and on what basis it was shared prior to the crash, saying the matter raises serious issues that require further examination within the inquiry process.
Assembly to come up with this ad hoc committee to look again into the circumstances of the air crash that sadly happened and killed the late Vice President and the other 8.
However, the family of the late former Attorney General says it is not seeking any investigation into his death. Speaking on behalf of the family as he appeared before the committee, the late lawyer's brother, Charles Kasambara, said they consider the matter closed and have no intention of pursuing further inquiries. In the afternoon, Chief Secretary to the government, Dr. Justin Saidi, appeared before the committee and explained the procedures for requesting government aircraft, emphasizing that he could not comment on the events of June 10, 2024, as he was not directly involved in the arrangements.
Position which I was called for here was to explain the operating procedures, how we hire the planes, what happens between Office of the Vice President and Office of the President. That I elaborated fully. Now, there are questions coming specifically for 10th June. I was not there. I found things, they're all done. We just see what procedures are there whenever somebody wants to hire a plane, what communication is there between the President and the Vice President.
So the committee has agreed to deliberate on the way forward regarding the SPC submission after noting that only 5 of the 8 pages in his presentation were delivered orally. The chairperson of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee on the plane crash, Wora Nyamirano Manda, has since applauded the good progress that they're currently making after facing some of the people they intend to question in this inquiry, adding that the information gathered will be put to good use in the investigation. He further said the committee's focus is to establish true facts and not hearsay.
Malawians, especially children with disabilities, stand to benefit from improved early diagnosis and rehabilitation services, as Fund for Nations prepares to host a major continental summit focused on inclusive early childhood development. The organization's executive director, Patience Nkandawire, told journalists on Tuesday that the gathering will serve as a key platform for advancing disability inclusive early childhood development across the country. She said the 4th edition of the summit will run under the theme Early Action and Early Start to Rehabilitation in Africa, and is expected to bring together practitioners, academics, government officials, and innovators in assistive technology. Nkandawire also noted that the Malawi government is an official partner for this year's summit, working alongside key ministries including health, education, and gender, as well as development partners such as World Vision, SOURCE, and St. John of God. Here is part of what Nkandawire said.
Really looking forward for it to be a 3-day immersive experience on early childhood development, particularly for children with disabilities. This year's theme is Early Action, an early start to rehabilitation in Africa. And it's bringing together practitioners in the therapy space, academia, government, people who make assistive technology, everybody coming around the idea that once we intervene early, children are set up for success much later in their life. So we're anticipating to have about 300 delegates, with a good number of them coming from all over Africa, particularly the partner countries in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and some from South Africa. But we're still receiving commitments of people joining.
And in international news, a United Nations-backed court in the Central African Republic, CAR, has opened the trial in absentia of former President Franco Bozize over alleged crimes against humanity committed between 2009 and 2013. The trial, which began on Tuesday before the Special Criminal Court in Bangui, centers on accusations that members of Bozize's security forces committed serious human rights violations, including murder, enforced disappearance, torture, and rape. We have more in this African News Report, read in our studios by Alison Banda.
Bozize, aged 79, who came to power through a coup in 2023 and ousted by rebels a decade later, is currently living in exile in Guinea-Bissau. He did not appear in court and he was represented by his lawyer. The court issued an international arrest warrant against Bozize in February 2024, following investigation into alleged crimes committed by his presidential guard at a civilian prison and military training center in Bosimbili. Judges said there is a serious and consistent evidence that could establish criminal responsibility as military commander and superior. The Special Criminal Court was established to investigate war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Central African Republic since 2003. The country has experienced repeated conflicts and political instability since gaining independence from France in 1960. Bozize's withdrawal in 2013 by the dominantly Muslim Seleka rebel coalition sparked a civil war, and in response, he backed anti-Balaka militias, largely made up of Christians and animist fighters. The conflict claimed thousands of civilian lives, with both sides accused the United Nations for committing war crimes and crimes against humanity. In 2020, Bozize became associated with the rebel alliance known as Coalition of Patriots for Change, which challenged the government of President Faustin Change Todera. The rebellion was eventually pushed back after deployment of Russian Wagner mercenaries in support of government forces. Bozize later fled into exile, first to Chad and then to Guinea-Bissau. In September 2022, a court in Central African Republic sentenced him to life and hard labor on charges including conspiracy, rebellion, and murder.
Thank you so much, Alison Banda. And Tapiwa Kutakumutu is here with the weather update.
Good evening, and it's time for weather forecast. Cold conditions were experienced over most areas this morning, with Jirede, Nilongwe, Malingunde, Nyika, and Rumpi reporting the lowest at 8 degrees Celsius, while other stations such as Ngapani in Chikwawa also reported cold conditions at 9 degrees Celsius. We are currently expecting partly cloudy conditions to persist over most areas, accompanied by cold to cool temperatures over most areas tonight and during morning hours, while warm conditions are expected tomorrow in the afternoon. We are also expecting windy conditions to be blowing over most areas, while Mwela winds with speed of at least 40 kilometers per hour will be blowing over our lake water bodies such as Lake Malawi and Lake Chirwa. Hence, we are still advising all lake users, including fishermen, to continue being very observant. This is all due to the influence of this high pressure system, which is pumping in moist and cool southeasterlies into the country, influencing these conditions. This is also why tonight we are still expecting partly cloudy conditions to persist over most areas across the country, accompanied by windy conditions as well as generally cold conditions. Similar conditions are also expected tomorrow in the morning hours, coupled with fog patches in some areas, especially over the highlands and the valleys. Temperatures will feel generally cold tomorrow in the morning hours over the south, the central as well as the northern part of the country, but we should expect mild conditions in some areas such as Ngabu, Nsanje, Mangoshi, and Monkey Bay at 18 degrees Celsius. Looking into the afternoon hours of tomorrow, we should expect partly cloudy conditions to persist over most areas in the south, the central, as well as the northern part of the country, accompanied by windy conditions. We are also expecting warm conditions to persist over most areas tomorrow in the afternoon, while hot temperatures will be experienced over few areas such as Ngabu and Nsanje at 28 degrees Celsius. Looking into Friday, we should expect partly cloudy conditions to persist over most areas, accompanied by windy conditions. We are also expecting cold to cool temperatures to persist over most areas at night and during morning hours, while warm conditions are expected during the afternoon. I'm Tepu Akutakumodu. Be wise, be weatherwise.
That weather update marks the end of our bulletin. I am Robert Kalindiza. Continue enjoying the rest of our programs here on Luntha Television.